We just finished in a town called Nowzad. I'd been there for the last 9 weeks protecting this town, and it was some of the heaviest fighting we'd seen. We spent literally 7 weeks of the last part of the tour just under attack every day. And we were due to fly home because we were the first company of Marines in Helmand, and we were the first ones due to go back to be replaced by the army. I stayed behind with my senior Marines and did a handover to the, I think it was Alpha Company, the Anglians, told them where the Taliban attacked from, what time of day, what weapons they used, what tactics. Then all I had to do was get on a helicopter, fly back to Bastia and pick up my kit and go home. As we got back to Bastia, and it's literally get off the plane, we're going back out, and 7 hours later we were back out on this mission. It was ground that we'd covered the day before, so we didn't expect an IED threat, but to extend 2 companies of Marines past their end of tour date has to go to Downing Street for approval, because you know when you start, you know when you finish, because to move 4,000 men is a lot of logistics. But because we had to go past when our tour ended, the government couldn't afford to have dead Marines the day they should have been home. So whether it worked in hindsight or not, the Americans did a leaflet drop into Sangin actually telling them we were coming. But what the leaflet said was, we are coming in large numbers, this is your chance to leave. We're not after the local Taliban, we want the foreign fighters and Taliban commanders. So they did leave, but they IED'd the whole route in. They knew we were coming. Granted, they didn't stay and fight, but to be honest, with 2,000 American paratroopers and we had 180 Marines committed to the battle, they wouldn't have won anyway. But whether it would have been different or not, I don't know. But that particular day, on the last part of the advance, I was with my 4 Land Rover Wimics. They're just stripped down Land Rovers with weapons mounted on. We had a front screen for the armoured vehicles, and J Company, which was our sister company on the left, they hit the first IED, and it was a vehicle identical to mine, but it had the new V-shaped armour underneath, which deflected the blast, blew out the engine bay, and I think the worst injury was a dislocated wrist by the commander of that vehicle. We had stopped to wait for that guy to be picked up by a helicopter, and then got the call over the radio, right, you need to find a new route, because I've got 60 odd vehicles behind me. Be aware, Taliban have laid IEDs in. So I was like, we're in the valley, perfect ambush point. So the last thing I said to my driver was, right, get me up on that small hill to my front, because I need to find a new route. The guys behind me said didn't make it that far. I literally went forward about 100 metres, and then boom. I remember the bang, and then everything went black. The guys behind said when the explosion happened, there was just a big mushroom cloud, and the vehicle went up about 8 to 10 feet and spun. It split in half, and 2 bodies came flying out, which was me and my top cover. The vehicle came back down on its side with my driver still in it. A friend of mine who was commanding the other vehicle, he just got on the radio and said, mine strike, 3 dead Marines. I think it was about 8-9 minutes when I regained consciousness and I'm staring at the sky, and I thought, okay, this is new, but I knew what had happened because I remember hearing the bang, and I knew we were in the mined area. And as I'm looking at the sky, I can remember the smell of burning flesh. I looked at my arm, and it was just all black, covered in diesel and singed. The pain from the leg hit me. I remember trying to look down, trying to see, because I knew there's chances of the leg still being there, were going to be slim. I looked down, I couldn't see my foot. And I remember, oh crap, so I looked around the other side and the foot was there, but it was hanging off on the left-hand side. So I was like, okay, it's still there, but it's hanging off. And then our training kicks in, it's like ambush, where's my weapon? And I remember trying to feel around for my rifle and then realised I was paralysed. All I had to do then was try and slow my heart rate down, because I didn't know how much blood I'd lost at that point. And we normally have our tourniquet and the medical pouch strapped to the front of our body armour. As the blast came up, it blew them all away, so I had no way of stopping the bleeding. So that was a hard moment to just lay there, knowing I was going to bleed out. Eventually got the helicopter in, got carried onto the back, and I think the doctor tried to do something with the leg, and I blacked out. I woke up 2 days later in the field hospital, where they put like an external fixation to hold the leg together because it was just shattered. and this liquid cover for the burns on my arm. And they said, we've done all we can. You're flying back to the UK in 2 hours, and spent the next 6 weeks in hospital, having leg repaired, which then led to another 2 years of operations. I think 14 operations in total to reattach tendons, nerves, and metalwork. And yeah, it took me about 2 years to walk again from that. One of my Marines summed it up perfectly, because I trained all the guys up prior to going out there, led them out there, kept them all safe. They said, out of all the people, you was the worst one to get injured. If it was one of the young Marines, you expect it. You know, that's how it normally is. It's the young guy or the inexperienced guy. But when you went, all of a sudden guys were thinking, bloody hell, if it can happen to you, it can happen to any of us. And it just, that ripple wave affected so many people, and it affected their confidence, you know, that ability to think, it ain't gonna happen to me, ain't gonna happen to me. And when it does, it has such an impact on your confidence, it takes years to recover from. When you see how bad the human race can be, you see suicide bombers, people blowing up children just so they can kill 1 or 2 soldiers. And that's a lot to take in. So go into it with your eyes open. And if you understand all the risks that come with it, serving, there's no greater honour.